You're listening to The Midnight Box, a late-night broadcast from Once Upon a Dark. Tonight's story is about the disappearance of Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose Bierce was not a man on the margins when he disappeared. He was known. He was published. He was already counted. By 1913, Bierce had lived long enough to watch most of his generation fade. He had survived the American Civil War. He had built a reputation as a journalist and writer whose work was sharp, unsentimental, and often unforgiving. He distrusted optimism. He distrusted institutions, and he did not soften with age. This was not a man drifting without direction, and it was not a man whose life felt unfinished, which is why his disappearance did not register as dramatic at first, only strange. In the early 20th century, disappearance did not announce itself. There were no instant alerts, no centralized records, no expectation of immediate confirmation. People kept track of one another through letters, through addresses, through schedules that moved slowly. Silence took time to notice. In 1913, Ambrose Bierce left the United States and traveled south. Mexico was in the midst of revolution. The country was unstable, but not inaccessible. Foreign journalists passed through. Correspondents moved with armies. Travel carried risk, but it was not unusual. Bierce moved steadily, and at first he wrote. His letters did not suggest fear. They did not ask for help. They did not sound hurried. They were measured, deliberate. In them, Bierce spoke with the same clarity that marked his published work. He acknowledged age. He acknowledged weariness. In one letter, he suggested that he was prepared to leave the world as he had lived in it, without illusions, without regret. At the time, there was nothing remarkable about that sentiment. Only later did it feel final. After those letters, the record begins to thin. There is no single moment when correspondence stopped. No final message marked urgent. No interruption that demanded attention. There was simply less, and then nothing. No verified sighting placed Bierce beyond his last known location. No remains were recovered. No official death was recorded. News traveled slowly. Rumors traveled faster. Some accounts claimed he was executed. Others suggested illness. A few believed he intended to disappear entirely. None of these explanations could be confirmed, and none of them settled into fact. In the years that followed, his name continued to circulate, not as a living man, but as an unresolved one. Newspapers speculated briefly, then moved on. Friends aged, witnesses died. The machinery of history did what it always does. It absorbed the absence. Ambrose Bierce did not vanish in the way stories usually demand. There was no final scene, no recovered body, no moment of certainty. There was only a man who stepped beyond the edge of the record, and a silence that followed him. His work remains. His words remain, but his ending does not, and the record ends there. That was tonight's story. You've been listening to The Midnight Box. Wherever you are, thank you for listening. Good night.